Good morning, Facebook. Welcome. So, Abby and Lawrence are in different, on different devices.
I am trying to get to my device.
Oh.
You're on the device.
No.
Yeah, Nadia
I was,
is.
and then it disappeared.
Huh. You look like you're here to me.
Let's try. Pressing pen.
You have this.
So also, Michelle, just because you haven't joined us before, you don't have to, I'm not going to be able to see you so well from the mat. So just make sure that you're set up in a way where you can see me. And my internet connection is not always the best. So I will, as clearly as possible, to guide you through the practice, and hopefully that will work. If you ever have any questions.
So you stop the video. You don't mind if we stop the video?
No, exactly.
To get more internet bandwidth.
Exactly. You might stop the video.
Okay.
That might work better. And
Good. Done.
and then if there's any questions, you can always unmute yourself and ask them. There's a chat window function. You can type in chats on Zoom, but I won't see that also from the mat. And good morning, Facebook. If you're just arriving, you'll need something to sit on. And if it's challenging for your body to sit on your heels, then you'll need something to fill in that gap between your heels and your hips. So take whatever you need for all of that. And then we'll start in just a moment. So in the preparation for starting, good morning, Kathleen and Dan, I assume. Nice to see you. Hi, Dan. So something to sit on, and something to sit on that if sitting back on your heels is challenging, you'll want a block or a blanket or a pillow or something to fill in that space. I'll have a little pregame show happening on the mat. So make your way into a comfortable seat. And with your hands, turn your thighs in. Place your fingertips down on the ground beside you and lightly push down with the fingertips to bring more length along the sides of the torso. Move just lightly the top of the upper arm bones back. It's not a big movement, just to create more width across the front of the chest. And then place the hands lightly up or down on the legs. For our practice this morning, I would like to offer a verse from a very ancient yogic text. It's one of a collection of texts called the Upanishads, and they are written accounts of experiences of yogis who were practicing many years ago. And this is a verse, a prayer that has been chanted consistently since then. So as a consequence, it has a certain amount of truth, but also power because of that continuous expression. And it says, lead me, from the unreal, lead me to the real. From the darkness of ignorance and misunderstanding, lead me to the light of truth. From death, lead me to immortality. Again, from the unreal, lead me to the real. From the darkness, and that's the cloud of misunderstanding or ignorance, lead me to the illumination of truth. And from that which changes, lead me to that which no longer changes. And so part of our practice of yoga on the mat is to cultivate our path to the real, to the light and the light of truth, and also to that aspect of ourselves that is constant. And if we think about our entire life from birth till now, there's a thread of usness that is consistent and that has been present in each experience that we've had through our life. So regardless of our age and our the responsibilities and the daily observances that have come with any stage of life. So as we practice this morning, it is with the intention to use our practice to move us toward the real, toward the light, and to that which is unchanging in us. And we could call that immortal because it has not shifted or changed through at least our lifespan. If you also believe that that exists beyond the constraints of this body, then you could interpret that last line in that way as well. So with that in mind, please close your eyes. And settle your attention on your breath. Use the connection to the breath to arrive in preparation for our practice this morning. And also recognize that the breath is an aspect of the key that allows us to discern the difference between what is unreal and what is real, what is misunderstanding and what is truth, what is changing and what is constant. With your next breath, join your hands together at your heart. Use the touch of the thumbs against the center of the chest to just from the inside lightly lift the center of the heart up. Relax the jaw and the eyes. And tuning into the breath, we'll sound Om 3 times. Take a deep breath in. gently bow your head over to your heart in recognition that the mind is changing, shifting, thoughts arise and dissolve, and the heart, the essence of us, is constant, steady. And then release your hands down, lift your head up, and you're gonna stay seated. I'm just gonna move back to the mat so you can see my feet, and we're gonna work with the feet a little bit. So you wanna be able to have connection, access to your right foot, and take your left hand and thread the fingers of your left hand in between the toes of the right foot. As best you can, get the webbing of the fingers down to the webbing of the toes. And then you can just bend the toes back in both directions for a couple of times. But really, you're using your fingers to create a little bit more space between the toes. One more time there. One more movement. And then releasing the toes. Take one of your thumbs, it doesn't matter if your right thumb or your left thumb, and come to the base of your big toe. And just with quite a light touch, draw down from the base of the big toe through the arch to the heel. And do that 2 or 3 times. It's not a big touch and you're moving quite quickly. All you're doing is moving the fluid just under the skin, the lymph, and activating the fascia. And then move to the base of the second toe. And draw a line from the base of the second toe to the heel and run that line 2 or 3 times. And then move to the third toe. Same thing. So you're just feeling the amount of pressure that gives you the recognition of contact there. Ring toe. Fourth toe. And then fifth toe, baby toe. So right along the outside of the foot. And then take both of your thumbs and just very lightly press in the very center of the arch of the foot. And just push a little bit in and release. And again, it's not a harsh movement. It's very subtle, but still present. And then the last thing, take your hands and you're gonna slap your foot up and down from the heel to the toes a couple of times. So slap up and then down. And then release that leg and change sides. So sitting in whatever way gives you access now to your left foot. Thread the fingers of the right hand in between the toes. And as best you can, get the webbing of the fingers to the webbing of the toes. And then you can bend the toes in toward the top of the foot and then back. And as you do that a few times, mostly what you're doing is using your fingers to create a little bit more space between the toes. And then releasing your fingers, take your right thumb and to the base of the left big toe and lightly trace that line along the inside edge of the foot. Maybe I will have to move the animals out of the room. And then when you've done that about 3 times, move to the base of the second toe. Lightly trace that line down to the heel. And then third toe down. You've done that, move to the fourth toe. Just a very consistent touch. And then base of the baby toe. And then when you finish that third time, put both thumbs right in the center of the arch of the foot and just lightly press in and release. You're not wanting to go as hard as you can. You're just activating a little bit the fascia and the lymph on the sole of the foot. And then releasing the hands, you're gonna slap the foot from the heel to the toes and back 2 or 3 times. So up, down, up, and down. Good, and then from there, come all the way up to stand. Okay guys, ouch, ouch. So, standing on the front of your mat, separate your feet, hip bone distance apart. Line the outside edges of the feet up with the long edges of your mat. Spread the toes as best you can without using your hands. You lift them up a little bit, spread them apart. And then also right where your thumbs, the 2 thumbs were in the center of the arch of the foot, pull up. From here we'll do a couple of simple arm sweeps. So releasing the arms to the sides, rotate the whole arms out. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Turn the arms to the sides and exhale, sweep the arms down. Move like this with the breath, linking the arm sweep to the breath, and at the same time, staying present in the contact of your feet and the earth. So even though the movement of the arms draws our attention upward, practice holding part of your attention grounded down into the felt experience, into the body, the place of that which is real, light, true, and constant. And then inhale, take the arms up. And as you exhale, keep the arms down at your sides when you finish the exhale. Inhale, lift the center of the heart up. And now as you exhale, hinge forward and fold all the way down over the legs. Bend the knees as you need to, especially as this is the first standing forward bend of the practice. And as you bend your knees, again, lift up the toes, and you can use your fingers here to assist the movement. Spread the toes, lightly place them back down without lifting the toes or gripping the toes, so they just lay on the earth. Pull up the center of the arches and lightly push the heels apart. And release your head down. One more breath here. And then bending the knees, place the fingertips beside the ankles, and as you inhale, step the left foot all the way back into a straight leg lunge. So really come onto the ball of the left foot. So you're up high on the ball of the foot, right at the bottom of the toes. And again, lay all of the toes lightly toward the earth without gripping the toes. Plant your front heel. Lift the front arch up and hug your front hip in. Breathe here. And then pushing off with your back foot, step forward. Exhale, fold. And then inhale, step the other foot back. So as you take the right foot back, come right up on the ball of the foot. As best you can, keep the toes on the ground without gripping, meaning they're not turning white. Lift up the center of the left arch. Pull the left outer hip in and lengthen the torso from the base of the pelvis to the crown of the head. One more breath here. And then pushing off with your back foot, step forward and walk your feet right together until the inside edges of the big toes touch in preparation for chair pose. Bend the knees deeply. Sink the weight into the heels. And keeping the weight into the heels, either put your hands on your knees or take the arms straight in front of you, palms down, or turn the palms toward each other and stretch the arms alongside the ears. Wherever you are, sink the weight down into the heels. Feel the toes lightly touch the earth and lift up the center of the arches. Squeeze the outer hips together and lengthen from the low belly all the way up to the collarbones. Push into both heels. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, take the arms down. Standing side bend. Inhale, stretch the left arm up alongside your left ear. Lengthen up along the left side of the torso. And now put your right hand on your right thigh. Now squeezing the legs together, shift your hips to the left and walk your right hand down toward your right knee. Breathe. And then inhale, come up. Exhale that arm down. Inhale the other arm up. So pressing into your right heel, lengthen along the right side of the torso. Let that shoulder blade lift. Turn the tricep toward the head. And then as you exhale, shift your hips to the right and lean over to the left. As you lean over to the left, squeeze the legs together. Push into your right heel. Inhale, come up. Exhale, release that hand. Separate your feet, hip distance apart. Inhale, lift the center of the heart, and then standing forward, bend again. Exhale, fold all the way down. Bend the knees as much as you need to. Lift up the toes and spread them apart. Keeping the toes lifted, feel the center of the arches of the feet also lift. And without dropping the arches, lay the toes lightly on the earth. With the knees bent, push the heels lightly apart. Scoop up the low belly. Extend the crown of the head down toward the ground. Bend the knees, place the fingertips beside the ankles. Inhale, step your left foot again all the way back. So you land right on the ball of the foot and pull the heel up over the ball of the foot so that you're making a full arch in your back foot. Line your front sitting bone to your front heel and spread the front toes apart. Lift the arch up. And then extend from the base of the pelvis to the crown of the head. Push off with your back foot, step forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, step the right foot all the way back. Again, lift the heel, creating an arch. Spread the toes. Spread the toes on the front foot. Lift the arch. Ground the heel. And as you breathe, recognize that there's some part of you that even as the forms of the poses shift, as the body moves, there's something that's constant, present, aware of the experience. And then pushing off with your back foot, step forward. Walk the feet in together so that the inside edges of the feet touch.
especially the inner edges of the big toes. Chair pose, bend knees, hands either to the knees, arms in front, palms down, or palms face each other, arms out alongside the ears. Shift the weight into the heels and keeping the toes quiet. Again, neither gripping or lifting. Lift the center of the arches of the feet up. Squeeze the outer hips together. Lift the center of the heart up. Push into your heels, inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, arms down, side bend. So inhale the left arm up, stretch out well, and as you exhale, lean way over to the right. Squeeze both legs together. Feel into the feet and staying grounded into the feet. Lengthen out through the left side of the torso. Inhale, come up. Exhale that arm down. Other side. Inhale, right arm up. Squeeze the legs together. Exhale, side bend to the left. You squeeze the legs together. Lengthen from your right heel all the way out through your right fingertips. A breath. Inhale up. Exhale down. And then we're going to add on a bit from here, but we're the same. So take the feet wide apart, heels out. Inhale. Exhale, standing forward bend. Fold all the way over. Spread out the toes. Lift the arches. Center of the heel down. Push the heels apart. Stretch the legs maybe a little bit straighter for the last breath or two, and if your legs are straight, squeeze the outer hips in until you feel the low belly lightly hug back toward the spine. Place the fingertips by the ankles. Inhale, left foot back, lunge. Take recreating what you've done in the first couple of cycles. And then push off with that foot, step forward. Exhale. And then inhale the other foot back. At your front heel. Lift the top of the back thigh. Squeeze your legs together. And then from here, we're going to come into plank pose. So place the hands flat. Step the front foot back. Join the legs together. With the legs together, lift the heels over the balls of the feet. Lift the hips as high as the back of the heart. Turn the legs toward the heels. Draw the shoulder blades away from your ears and out slightly. So if you bend your elbows a little bit to the sides, it may help you keep the shoulder blades in the right position. Hug in the low belly. Exhale. Drop your knees to the ground. Keep your toes tucked under. Even readjust so your toes are well tucked under. Squeeze the heels together. And then sit back toward your heels. You do not have to touch your heels. But this is someplace that if your knees are uncomfortable, you'll want to take a blanket or a block or something and place it in between your hips and your heels. You also don't have to touch. You can hover here. And hovering here helps to engage the muscles of the buttocks. Hook your thumbs over your head. Press your elbows back and drop your shoulder blades down. So you can just stay here, keeping the elbows back and the shoulder blades down, or you may stretch the arms straight, turning the outside of the upper arms in toward the sides of the face, and stretch up. At the same time, sit down. Feel into your feet. One more breath. Releasing the thumbs, exhale. Sweep the arms down. Come forward just for a moment, release the toes. We're gonna do that a second time. So tuck the toes under, and you wanna really get all the toes tucked under, meaning that you're more on the base of the ball of the foot or the top of the ball of the foot. Squeeze the heels in as best you can, keep that. Sit back toward the heels. Breathe. Change the hook of the thumbs and place your hands just over your head. Extend the elbows back and drop the shoulder blades down. Stretch up through the crown of the head. And then inhale, extend the arms if you did on the first side. And if you're extending the arms, turn the triceps toward the face, stretch up. If your arms are extending, the shoulder blades lift. If your elbows are bent, the shoulder blades drop. One more breath. And then exhale, sweep the arms down. Place the hands well forward, plank pose a second time. So with the shoulders over the wrists and the hands shoulder distance apart, just simply stretch the legs straight. Squeeze the legs together. Turn the buttocks toward the heels. Micro bend the elbows so that the shoulder blades move away from the ears. And draw up the low belly. One more breath. And then lifting the hips, walk up with your hands. Standing forward bend, Uttanasana. With the feet wide apart, fold all the way down over the legs. So take the heels out as wide as the baby toes. Spread out the toes. Lift the center of the arches. Push the heels a little bit apart to stretch the legs straighter. And at the same time, fold the toes down. If your legs are straight again, you're hugging the outer hips in. The low belly lifts. And then for the last, just release the head. And practice tuning in away from the thoughtscape of the mind into the constant awareness that is paying attention to all that is happening. Bend your knees a little bit. Hands on your hips, lift your chin. Inhale, come up. Exhale. You can turn now to face the long edge of the mat. Tree pose, Vrikshasana. So again, stand with the feet right together. And find a focus point for your gaze. Your hips. Stand firmly down into your left leg. So the toes are spread and touching the ground. The center of the arch is lifted and you feel the weight across the ball of the foot and the heel. Turn the entire right leg out to the right. So you can just put simply the on the left ankle, or you can lift the foot up some amount. If you're lifting it up high, you're using your right hand to get the right foot higher. Wherever your foot is, push the foot into the leg and push the left leg back into the right foot. Join your hands if you're steady in prayer position, and either stay here or maybe take the hands just over you had them when the elbows were hooked. All the way up. Breathe. One more. Exhale. Hands down to the heart if they're lifted. And then release your right leg. Join your legs, release your hands. Take a breath. So now round into your right foot. So again, feel the weight across the ball of the foot, especially on the big toe side. Into the heel. Lift the arch. Focus your gaze and breathe. And then from the entire left leg out, and either put the left heel just on the right ankle or lift it up a little bit or a lot. Wherever you are, push the foot and the leg against each other. If you're steady, join your hands at your heart. And then maybe again take the arms just over the head or all the way up. Breathe. Notice that there's constant fluctuations in the balance. It's constantly changing. And tune into the presence, the awareness, the attention that you have that is following all the shifts. That is the constant. And then exhale, hands down if they're raised, and release the left leg. Release your hands. Again, facing the long edge of the mat, standing spread leg forward. So walk your feet really short. Make the outside edges of the parallel, the short edges of the mat. Put your hands on your hips. On the muscles on the fronts of the thighs. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, shift the hips back. Put your fingertips on the ground under your shoulders. So, the feet a little wider apart. With the hands under the shoulders. The toes. Keep the weight even across all of the feet and the heels. Lift the arches. And without moving the weight forward or back on the feet, walk the hands out away from you. Come up on your fingertips. So it was a little bit more like downward facing dog. Turn the inside edges of the thighs toward the wall behind you. Squeeze the outer hips in. And then really lengthen from the base of the pelvis to the crown. More breaths. Walk the hands back. Hands are under the shoulders. Heel the feet in a couple of steps. Put your hands on your hips, lift your chin. Inhale, come up. Exhale, release the arms, and then step the feet together. Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. Inhale, step the feet really wide apart. Turn the left in. Rotate the right leg and foot out. Inhale, extend the arms out to the sides. Drop the shoulder blades. And just slightly bend the elbows. And move your head back. Now planting your back heel and lifting up the inner arch of the back foot. Make the back leg really strong. And then exhale, keep that as you bend your front knee. Sit your torso straight down in the center of the legs. Continue to lift the center of the arch of the left foot up. Spread out the toes of the right foot. Lift the right arch. And press both heels firmly into the ground. With the shoulders over the head, drop the shoulder blades away from the ears. And then turn the head to look out past the right fingertips. Push into both heels. Inhale. Front leg straighter. Release the arms. Turn the feet. And then the second side. So turn the right foot in. Rotate the left leg and foot out. Feel the weight across the ball and the heel, and lift the center of the arch up. Inhale, take the arms to the sides. And then exhale, deeply bend your front knee. As you bend your left knee, reach out through your right fingertips. Planting your back foot, lift the inner arch of the back foot up. Spread out your left toes. Descend your left heel. And dropping the shoulder blades, turn the head to look to the left. One more breath. Pushing into both heels. Inhale, stretch the front leg straight. Drop the arms. Turn the feet. Exhale, and then inhale, step the feet together. Inhale, we're going to repeat that same position. So with the next breath in, step the feet again wide apart, warrior two. Turn the left foot in, or right leg and foot out. Inhale, stretch the arms to the sides, but this time, turn the hands up. So it's like you're making stops with your hands. Plant your back heel. Deep breath in. And then as you exhale, bend your front knee. So work the legs the same. So the feet are heavy and solid, and that grounds our attention down into that, which is real, true, present. And now with your head facing straight forward, push out through your the heel of your right hand. And then drop your left ear toward your left shoulder. Shoulder blades down. Inhale. Push out through the heel of the left hand. Drop your right ear to your right shoulder. One more time. Inhale up. And exhale, left ear to left shoulder. Push out through the right heel of the hand. Inhale, head up. And then exhale, right ear to right shoulder. Push out through the heel of the left hand. And then inhale, head up. Stretch the front leg straight. Drop the arms. Exhale, turn the feet. Inhale, step the feet. Oh, sorry, second side. Keep the feet apart. Turn the right foot in. Turn the left leg and foot out. Stretch the arms out to the sides, making strong hands. Planting your back foot. Exhale, deeply bend your front knee. Push back through your left heel. Push down your left heel. Turn your front knee toward the middle toes. And then extending out through the heel of the left hand, drop your right ear to your right shoulder. Inhale up. Other side. Exhale. Left ear to left shoulder. Inhale up. One more time each side. Drop. Inhale up. And then left ear to left shoulder. And then inhale up. Push into the feet, straighten the legs. Exhale, turn the feet, lower the arms, and inhale, step the feet together. So big toes touch, heels a little bit apart. Utkatasana, powerful pose a second time or a third time. Inhale, stretch the arms up overhead if that works for your shoulders. You can keep the arms at shoulder height, palm down, or you can simply have your hands on your hips. In whatever position you are in, lift and spread your toes. Place the toes down without gripping. Shift the weight back into the heels. Squeeze the outer hips in. Inhale. And then as you exhale, sit down. As you sit down, sink down into the heels. Without lifting the toes, spread out the toes. Lift the center of the arches of the feet up. Squeeze the outer hips. Lengthen the front of the torso. And then pushing into both feet, inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, drop your arms. Warrior one. Inhale, step the feet really wide apart. Spin your left foot in 60 degrees. Rotate your right leg and foot out. And move your right foot to the right as you need to, so that you can swivel the left hip and the left side of the ribs forward. Now take a moment to again establish the back foot. So push down into the back heel. Make sure your back toes are not gripping. And lift the center of the arch of the left foot up. Maintain that and spin your left hip more toward the right foot. Inhale, take the arms overhead if you're stretching the arms over your head. And then without changing the left leg, exhale, bend your right knee and sit down in between the legs. Plant your front heel. Point your front knee straight forward. Lift the center of the arch up. Drop both sitting bones down toward the earth. And then extend up from the base of the pelvis to the crown of the head. Maybe look up. Push into both heels. Inhale, stretch your front leg straight. Exhale, turn the feet, lower the arms. Line up your toes. And then the second side. Spin your right foot in 60 degrees. Rotate your left leg and foot out and move it right away over to the left as you need to face the short edge of the mat. Plant your back heel and lift the center of the arch up. And feel the stability and the grounding in that leg. Spin the outer edge of the right rib cage, right side of your rib cage forward. Take the arms overhead if you did that on the first side. Inhale here. And then as you exhale, without changing the back leg, deeply bend your left leg. Sit down in between the legs. As you bend your front leg, push more fully into your back heel. Spin the outside of your right hip forward. Plant your front heel. Lift up the arch. And then with the sitting bones descending, lengthen through the center of the torso. Stretch the crown of the head up. Maybe lift the chin. Maybe look up. One more breath. Push into both heels. Inhale, straighten your front leg. Exhale, turn your feet, lower the arms. And then inhale, step the feet together. Standing spread leg, forward bend, a second time. So inhale, step the feet or hop the feet wide apart. Make the outside edges of the feet parallel. Put your hands on your hips. Inhale. Exhale, hinge over. Place your fingertips on the ground, under your shoulders. Maybe take the feet a little wider apart. Do spread the toes. Center the weight over the heels and the balls of the feet. And lift the arches up. So just for a few moments, without bringing the hips forward or back, walk the hands forward like we did earlier. And then keeping that length in the torso, and you can stay here. Option 2 is to walk your hands over the feet. Some of you might want to catch your big toes with your thumb. Turn the crown of the head down toward the ground. If your arms are out overhead in front of you, let the shoulder blades lift a bit toward the ears. If your head is pointing toward the ground and your hands are over your feet or holding your toes, lift the shoulder blades up. Wherever you are, center the weight in the feet. Lightly spread the toes. Lift the center of the arches up. 2 more breaths. Releasing the toes. Everybody lift the head and bring the hands back under the shoulders. Walk your feet in, heel toe, a step or 2. Put your hands on your hips, lift your chin. Inhale, come up. Exhale. Inhale, step the feet together. Face the short edge of the mat. Separate the feet, standing forward bend. So with the feet hip bone distance apart, here interlace your hands behind your back. Deep breath in. As you exhale, bend the knees a bit, fold over, and place your torso on your legs. Let your head hang. So if you feel a bit constricted here, just take your feet a little wider apart. If you can get your torso on your thighs, legs are straight or almost, walk your feet a little closer together. So with your hands interlaced behind your back, and if that's not working for your shoulders, you can just put your hands on your hips. Lift the top of the upper arm away from the ground. Keep a little bit of elbows, and then stretch the arms straighter. If you go quite straight, then you could lift the arms over the head and release the head down toward the ground. One more breath. And then release the hands. Hands flat on the floor, mat, and then downward facing dog. Step one foot and then the other all the way back. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Look at your hands. Make sure they're shoulder distance apart and slightly turned out. Lightly spread the fingers and let the finger pads, the area underneath the fingernails, lightly sink down toward the earth. Press more actively into the knuckles at the base of your first fingers and the heels of your thumbs. Slightly bend the elbows. Turn the triceps toward the sides of your face and now pull your hips way back. Drop down into the heels. One more breath. So however you like, make your way on plank. So you could bring your shoulders over your wrists into plank pose and lower down, or you could simply drop your knees to the ground and come forward and lie down. So lying on your stomach. One at a time, turn your legs in. So you're really feeling the contact with the ground on the middle or even on the outer edges of the thighs, the front of the thighs. Bring your feet a little closer together and extend back through the big toes of your feet. Shalabhasana, so you've got multiple arm options. You could interlace your hands behind your back, hook your thumbs, or place your hands just on your sides with the palms up. It doesn't matter. You just choose intuitively which one you want to do today. And we're going to lift the head, chest, the arms, and the legs. lifting the legs isn't good for your lower back, just lift the arms, the head, and the chest. So scooping up the low belly, firm the muscles of the buttocks, exhale, and now as you lift up everything. As you lift up, lengthen out through the toes, reaching the toes away from you. Curl up, lift the hands up higher than the shoulders. One more breath. And then exhale, come all the way down. Release your arms, roll the legs in. So again, you're on the center or the slightly outer edges of the fronts of the thighs. And then prop yourself up by your toes. Keep the same work in the low belly, so low back, buttocks firm. And then with the elbows underneath the shoulders, take the hands a little wider apart. Sphinx pose on the way to cobra. So descend to the shoulder blades. Curl the center of the heart up by pulling the elbows back toward the baby toes. Lift the center of the chest up. Release the head. And then pushing into the hands, maybe stretch the arms straight, that's optional. When your arms are straight, it will be easier for most of us to push down and away. Let's see if you can pull the hands toward the feet to activate the triceps and to curl the center of the heart a bit more. Exhale, come down. So if your back is comfortable in this position, you can simply swing your left forearm in front of you. We're going to do a thigh stretch here, half frog pose, or you could lower onto your left forearm. Wherever you are, bend your right knee. Reach back, catch your right ankle. You can also hold onto your pants or use a towel or a blanket or something to wrap around the ankle and hold on to. Keep the low belly up slightly. Draw the right heel. Keeping the right knee squeezing slightly in toward the left. Breathe. Again, notice the part of you that's paying attention to the experience. That which is aware of what is happening, even as what is happening changes. And it's that understands what is real and eternal. Exhale very gently. Release that leg. And then change sides. So support yourself up on your right forearm or rest your head down on it. Bend your left knee. Reach back. Catch your left ankle. And you can do that from the outside. I'm going to do it a second time, so I'll offer more options there. Squeeze the left knee in. Draw the left down toward the left hip. Breathe. Couple more breaths. And then very gently release that leg. So we're going to do those three poses a second time. So roll onto the thighs. Take the hands back by the legs, palms up. Or if you interlace the fingers or hook the thumbs, change the positioning of the digits. Lift the belly, firm the buttocks. Descending the shoulders. Inhale. Exhale. And with your next breath, everything. Lift the top off the ground and extend back through the big toes. Curl the chest up. Breathe. And then exhale and come down. Roll right away onto the center of the thighs. Prop yourself up on your elbows. Elbows shoulder width apart, hands a little wider. Move the top of the upper arm bones back. Draw up the low belly, firm the muscles of the buttocks. Keeping the thighs turning in, plant the base of the big toes. Pull your hands toward your feet. Wiggle the engage and the center of the heart forward and up. Feel the engagement in the middle of your back. And then maybe stretch the arms straighter. So if your lower back is feeling comfortable, you could walk your hands further in. I'd like you to be able to still get the hands or the arms mostly straight. So now pull the hands toward the feet, activating the triceps. Draw the shoulder blades away from your ears. Pull the center forward, maybe lift the chin a bit. And then exhale, come all the way down. So either prop yourself up on your elbows or rest your forehead on your left forearm. Swivel the left forearm in front of you if you're staying upright. And if you're staying upright, descend the shoulder blade. Now as needed, scoop in the low belly, firm the buttocks, bend your right knee. Either take the right hand to the outside edge of the ankle or put the hand inside, on the inside edge of the foot, and maybe swivel the hand so that the V between your thumb and first finger is at the base of the toes. And then draw the heel toward the center of the buttocks, option one, or if that's happening, then to the outside edge of the right hip and toward the ground. One more breath. And then very gently release and change sides. So either on your right forearm or propping yourself up on your right forearm. Bend your left knee. Catch the outside edge of the foot, ankle, or hand on the inside and maybe swivel the hand so that the V between the thumb and the first finger is at the base of the toes. Wherever you are, breathe. And notice that the breath and your awareness in the experience tells you what is true and real in terms of the ideal capacity in which to work. Couple more breaths. And then very gently release. Come all the way. And then placing your hands under your shoulders. Press onto your hands and knees. And then turn. And it'll probably be more effective if you're facing the long edge of the mat. We're going to sit in a position that is called Vamadevasana Prep. I don't really know the English name. So you're going to sit with your right leg bent so that the right shin is relatively parallel the long edge of your mat. And then have your left knee bent with your left foot relatively beside your left hip, and your left shin is parallel the short edge of the mat. If it works for your left ankle, have the left toes pointing also toward the short edge of the mat. If that doesn't work, they can extend back more toward the long edge of the mat behind you. So you're in this position. And it's okay to be imbalanced here. All of us are to some extent. However, if you're really tipping to the right, you want to use your right hand to help press down into your left hip. Or you could take your blanket or your pillow and put it just underneath your right hip, and that will help the left hip descend. So wherever you are, breathe here. So again, you can use your right hand a little bit for support. And mostly, you're just exhaling and allowing gravity to pull the left hip down. The more uncomfortable this is, the more that invitation is to do it. At the same time, you don't want pain in your left knee. One more breath. And then you're going to change sides. So pick up the left leg, place it in front of you, bring the right shin out so that the right shin is parallel the short edge of the mat in the back. And there will be a big difference often for most of us side to side. This is my harder side. And so now, as best you can, descend the right sitting bone down. Breathe. A couple more breaths. And then release the legs. Extend both legs just for a moment straight out in front of you. And then Baddha Konasana, butterfly pose or cobbler pose. So that's the soles of the feet together and the knees apart. So depending on your body, you may want to sit on your pillow or your blanket or a block if you have a block handy. And you can judge that by how rounded the lower back is toward the wall behind you and or how high the knees are lifted. So you want the capacity to have the lower back slightly move in and up. So it's in a natural curve as opposed to rounding back and the buttocks rolling under. So the less comfortable this position is, the more you move your feet away from you. And the more available it is, the more you bring your feet in. Once you've established your seat, turn your thighs in with your hands. And place your hands down at your sides. Drop the shoulder blades. And then roll toward the front edge of your sitting bones so that the inside edges of your thighs turn down. And you're using your hands to help with that. Then push the center of the heels together. And as you push the center of the heels together, reach out through your knees. Keep the shoulder blades down. Move the head back, lift the center of the heart up. One more breath. Even see now as you press your heels together, maybe you could lift your heels just a tiny bit up and see what that does for your knees. And then, releasing the hands, grab the outsides of your knees with your hands, join your legs, and one at a time again, stretch the legs out straight. Now we're going to come down onto the back position or eye of the needle, Suchirandrasana in Sanskrit. So a blanket for your head may be useful. And then turn and lie on your back. Lying on your back. Cross your right ankle on your left thigh, keeping the pelvis from shifting and the weight even across the back of the pelvis. Now just lightly extend out through your right heel, like you're trying to push your right heel over to the left. As you do that, you can put your right hand on your right thigh and lightly press your right knee away from you. Or you can just press out through the heel. So option 1 is to stay here. Option 2 is to lift the left leg up and catch the back of the left thigh or the front of the shin. Lightly press the right heel out to the left. Breathe. And then again, notice the fact that you're paying attention to this whole experience. That you are conscious and present of what's happening. And the yoga tradition says that that is the part of us that is unchanging, steady, always aware of what we're experiencing. Releasing the hands, put the left foot on the ground, uncross the right. And then change sides, so cross the left ankle on the right thigh. Press out through the left heel and maybe press the left knee away from you using your left hand on your left thigh. Keeping the weight even on the back of the pelvis, lift up, catch the back of the left thigh, right thigh. Maybe draw the right knee in a little bit more toward the right shoulder, but watch the temptation to then roll into the lower back. Keep the weight on the top of the back of the pelvis. Lightly press out through the left heel. Keep the center of the arch, both arches, but especially the left arch, lifting in, up. And then release your hands, put that foot on the ground, uncross. We're going to do that a second time. So for the second time, the option is to bring the right foot closer to the left hip. So more in a half lotus position. That's just an option. You can have it right at the base of the thigh near the knee, or kind of midway, or again all the way up. You want to make sure you're not feeling this in the knee. Wherever you are, lightly press out through the right heel. Extend the knee away from you. And then lift up. If you did it on the first time. So if you're in kind of more the half lotus position, you've got a little bit more, a little less space to thread your right arm through. So make that happen as best you can. Breathe. And breathe into the sensations. One of the ways of sensation is that they are places of darkness or tension, and that the breath holds the light.
And as we breathe into the areas of tension and carry the breath there, we are moving from the darkness to the light. And then releasing the hands, put the left foot down, uncross the right, and then change sides. So left foot crossed just on the base of the thigh, midway, or perhaps all the way up to the top of the thigh near the torso. Wherever you are, make sure that you have an arch in the foot and that you can extend out through the heel, just like when we were standing. And then lift the right knee up if that's part of what you're doing this morning. Hold the back of the right thigh. Wherever you are, keep the weight even across the back of the pelvis and press the left knee away from you. Draw the knee in, the right knee, if the right knee is lifted. And again, the lower back might come to the ground, but the weight is still held across the top of the back of the pelvis. One more breath. And then releasing the hands. Put the right foot down, uncross the left. Roll all the way over to your right side and sit up. So you don't need to sit on anything here. And stretch the legs out in front of you. So take the hands back several inches behind you, just in a comfortable way so that you can lean back into the hands. Bend your right knee and cross it on your left thigh, just above the knee. Arch the back so that the center of the heart lifts up and you're not resting back into your hands, but you're using your hands to lift the chest up. And now bend the left leg some amount. So if this is already enough, then like you did before, you're going to press the right knee away from you, keeping the left hip heavy. You could bend the left leg a little bit or a lot, depending. Wherever you are, you're using your hands to lift the chest up as opposed to resting back into the hands. If your left knee is bent, line it up with your left shoulder, roughly. The chest, press the right knee away from you. And then, if your left leg is bent, lift the foot up, stretch that leg straight, and then uncross. Change sides, so bend the left leg in, cross it over, lift the chest up, and then maybe bend the right leg some amount. Keep the right sitting bone as heavy as the left, so instead of tipping onto the left, keep the right hip heavy. The shoulder blades down, and the elbows maybe a tiny bit bent. Press into your hands to lift your chest up. Breathe. And then leaning back a little bit, extend the right leg straight, uncross the left. So the last pose before Shavasana is some sort of cross-legged forward bend. So you can simply cross the legs, in which case you want the knees a little closer together, the feet a little wider apart. If it makes sense for you, you can put your right shin on top of your left so that your feet are more or less in direct relationship with your knees. So your left foot is directly under your right, and your right foot is directly on top of your left knee. The feet are a little bit flexed. If half lotus, the right leg up at the root of the thigh makes sense for you, that could be an option. And if you know that Padmasana, full lotus, is part of your repertoire, then that's another option. So you just want to choose the position that allows you to work in the hips while being able to breathe. This is a moment of truth. Real. What is real? So turning your thighs in whatever position you're in. Squeeze your knees in toward each other. Place your hands in front. Drop the buttocks down and walking your hands forward. Stretch the crown of the head out. As you keep the sitting bones heavy, descend the buttocks so that the low belly draws lightly back. Squeeze the knees toward each other. Walk the hands out a little bit further, perhaps. Breathe. And then walking the hands back in. Inhale, come on up. Exhale, stretch the legs out straight. And then change sides. So take whatever position you did on the first side. Turn your thighs in. Keeping those sitting bones planted and the buttocks heavy. Take your hands out in front of you. And then walking the hands out, fold forward over the legs. Breathe. Feel into the body. Feeling into the sensations of the body is part of knowing what is real. Take the breath all the way into the places of tension. And feel the breath carry light there. And notice that part of you that is paying attention, that is aware of all that is happening. And know that that awareness, the presence that is noting all of the experiences, is the thread. That which is unchanging, regardless of experience and age. And then walking the hands back in. Inhale, come on up. Shavasana, on your back. So take a blanket for behind your head as needed. If you need support for behind your knees, have support for behind your knees. And then lying down on your back. Let your feet roll open to the sides at approximately hip width apart. Take the arms out to the sides of the body and rotate the arms so that the palms face up. Or if it's more comfortable for you, bend your elbows and place the palms down on the torso. Close. With the eyes closed, completely let go of all resistance to gravity. Let the body melt down into the earth underneath it. And feel into all the places on the back of the body that hold the weight of the body and make contact with the earth. And feel the whole Back of the body dissolve down into the ground. Feel the fronts and the side of the body dissolve into the air around you. So that there's a sense that you're taking up more space simply by relaxing into it. Notice your breath. And let the breath lead you down and in to the center of your being. Which is real, full of light, and always present. Rest there. Very gently, notice your breath. And notice that you are noticing your breath. With the next deeper breath in, bend the elbows and place the palms on the torso if they're not already there. And then one at a time, bend the knees, place the feet on the ground. Roll all the way over to your right side, supporting your head with your right arm as needed. And then from your right side, eventually press yourself up and take a good seat. Join your hands together at your heart. From the unreal, me to the real. From the darkness of ignorance and misunderstanding, lead me to the illuminating light of truth, of wisdom. And from death, all that shifts and dissolves, lead me to that which is ever present. Exhale. Take a deep breath in. Thank you. Namaste.